Hello, business building warrior. Welcome to Silent Sales Machine Radio. I'll be your host today. It's just you and me hanging out. Most of our episodes, we have guests, but today it's going to be just you and I. And I'm going to talk about what else we're excited about around here besides Amazon. Now, it might sound like we're losing interest in Amazon by saying that, but nothing could be further from the truth. The reality is we're getting more excited about Amazon and the multiple opportunities that it represents and its impact in the larger landscape of e-commerce and just business opportunity in general. But from day one, I'm going back over 20 years now, I've been a multiple income streams guy. This community, if you've never heard me say it before, this community was founded over 20 years ago. The community, when I say community, I mean the listeners to this podcast, of course, the people in our Facebook group, the couple 100,000 people on our email list, the e-commerce business building warriors of this community have understood that something we're pursuing at all times is multiple streams of income, multiple opportunities. Amazon emerged about 14 years or so ago as by far the greatest opportunity that I'd ever seen. And many people agreed, and many people have gone on to do very well. As a matter of fact, someone challenged me on this. If you'd like, look it up and do your research, but I'm pretty sure Amazon has created more small business millionaires than any other company in the history of the world. And that's right. They've created more millionaires than any company in the world, in world history. That's pretty phenomenal. And the good news is the future looks extremely bright. I'm hearing some challenging news in some Amazon sectors from people who are coming to grips with the reality that you can't just watch a few videos on YouTube and listen to a few experts, buy a $5,000 course and launch a brand on Amazon anymore, order some cheap stuff from China and mark it up. That model is struggling. Absolutely, that model's getting harder and harder to do. There was never more than a 5% success rate, as far as I know, in that model. And now that success rate is shrinking rapidly. And I'll talk a little bit more about that because I know we'll have some newer listeners on this show today, potentially, about what I'm talking about there. Some people think the only opportunity on Amazon is to bring your own product to their platform. That's simply not true. That model has always been hard, and it's getting harder. But there's some solutions there that we have to offer as well to help qualified sellers get into that arena. So the negative press that I'm hearing about Amazon these days, for the most part, is people who are trying to launch their own brand, in many cases ordering inexpensive items from China, marking them up, putting them under their own brand perhaps, and trying to compete that way. Yeah, that's getting hard. It's getting really hard. But the models that we teach to new sellers have a very, very bright future. And like I said, I'll spend some more time on that today. But the title of today's episode is, what else are we excited about around here besides Amazon? And again, I'm explaining this doesn't mean we're losing excitement about Amazon. It just means the landscape of opportunities continues to open. And let me lay the foundation for that conversation with some facts and data. If you've never heard this before, there's a couple things you need to understand. First, how big do you think e-commerce is in comparison to retail shopping? Right? If you put all of retail in the United States on one pie chart, how much is online? How much is people getting in their cars, going to stores, buying stuff off of shelves? What is the breakdown? Now, before I tell you the answer, most people tend to be pretty off when they guess for the first time. And the correct answer shows you that the opportunity is just getting started. During COVID, there was an incredible spike in how much people relied on online shopping. And it actually settled down just a bit afterwards. And now it's climbing again rapidly, how much people shop online. So if you weren't aware, it's less than 20% of all retail activity in the United States is online. As I'm recording this, late 2024, less than 20% of all retail activity is online. Amazon is about half of that 20%. So Amazon is, somewhere between 5 and 10%, depending on what numbers you look at, of all retail spending in the United States, and climbing rapidly. The number of brands on Amazon is increasing rapidly, whether those brands like it or not. You see, Amazon doesn't have to ask permission to sell brands on their platform. Brands can be sold. The first sale doctrine is the law of the land, and Amazon loves the first sale doctrine. What the first sale doctrine basically says is if somebody buys something and now owns it, they can sell it to whoever else they want to sell it to. That's why yard sales are still legal. You bought something, you own it, you never opened it, and you want to sell it to someone else. Hey, that's legal. The complications come in on Amazon when brands get nervous about the way their product is represented, or was it stored properly, or is it being represented properly in the description? Is the wording correct? Which is why we tell new sellers on Amazon all the time, do not set up new listings on Amazon. Don't bring a new product to Amazon, set up a listing and start selling it. If it's not your brand, it's going to be a disaster. If it is your brand, it's still probably going to be a disaster because you don't know what you're doing yet. But that's getting us a little off topic. I'm trying to lay the case that the future is very bright for Amazon, but there's a lot of other great things happening too in this community. I'm going to give you some specific examples. So I've told you how small of a percentage e-commerce is compared to retail, but it's got a very bright future. That 15 to 20% will soon be 30, 35, 40% of all retail is going to be online. Amazon's going to be the big boy getting most of that action. Very bright future there. I've also shared with you that you can be confident if you're using the right business model as opposed to the wrong business model getting into Amazon, helping fill the underserved shelf space is what we call it around here. But if you jump into the wrong model and you try to spend a whole bunch of money and try to launch your own brand and try to order cheap products from China, well, that's going to be a very rough road for you. And the number of new sellers that we see coming into our community, it's starting to slow down. I think it peaked a few years ago, but the number of new sellers coming into our community who had previous experience getting burned in a significant way by attempting to launch their own brand earned us the badge of honor around here of being almost a burn unit for the industry, meaning people filled their garage with all kinds of stuff they couldn't sell. They were frustrated and disappointed, and they thought that Amazon was just a disaster and a failure for them because they went down the road of buying an expensive course, doing some keyword research, ordering a bunch of stuff from China or another foreign country, putting their label on it and trying to launch on Amazon. They were convinced because of YouTube videos they'd watched that that was the way to go on Amazon. Meanwhile, we're over here cranking out hundreds of success stories consistently, turning our students into business building warriors who have a great track record building beautiful businesses because we teach a different model here. And I'm not going to spend a whole lot of time on that model. You've heard it on other podcast episodes. If you're new around here, scroll back in time. You'll hear hundreds of interviews with our students. Basically, we fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses. We find the underserved ASINs or listings on Amazon, and we send a few units of inventory to those warehouses that where they're most likely to sell the fastest. That's the cleanest way I can explain it, is filling the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses on everyday boring items. Amazon has over 1 billion ASINs and climbing. They've got 32 years worth of ASINs if you were to look at them one at a time, 1 second per ASIN. 32 years worth of listings on Amazon and growing, new brands constantly pouring in. And the vast majority of those brands could care less, have no clue who's reselling their product. Remember, I mentioned the first sale doctrine a few minutes ago. Someone bought it, they can sell it as long as it's a good ASIN and it represents that brand accurately. And other sellers have been selling on it and there's a history there. It's safe for you to jump on it as well. These are the things we train you in our basic proven Amazon course training. There's a link at silentjimdotcom if you want to get into that model. But the theme today is what else is going on besides Amazon? I just wanted to make sure and lay down some ground foundation that says not only are things going really well for Amazon sellers right now who follow the strategies we teach, and we've got the evidence of that, but the future looks very bright. All the indicators are in our favor. And we'd love to discuss any of these things with you in our Facebook group if you'd like. There's a link to our free group at silentjimdotcom. We just passed 78,000 members. Thank you for being a part of that group. If you're in there, jump in there, use that as a resource. And hey, one other thing too, during the month of November, if you're listening to this before the month of December, there is actually some industry-wide voting going on right now. We'd be honored to get your vote as having the friendliest, most helpful Facebook group for Amazon sellers. And you can vote for us by going to silentjim.com/vote. Has all the details. We've even got a little discussion going there where you can enter into a drawing and possibly win some prizes if you participate. You don't have to vote for us to get in on the drawing either, but there's a great discussion going. We'd love to have you be part of that. Go to silentjim.com/vote and vote for us on that. So we've got all these great resources for Amazon sellers. We've got a lot of great momentum in the community. We're seeing the success stories. If this is one of the first podcast episodes you've heard, again, let me repeat, you need to scroll back in time and hear those great success stories. Because here's the premise. As the leader of this organization with a great team around me helping set the path forward for this organization, I'm reminding them frequently, and they remind me frequently, that Amazon isn't the only game in town. It's not the only thing happening. We've got sellers selling on Walmart very successfully. I love the pressure that Walmart is putting on Amazon, keeping them honest, so to speak. It used to be eBay in that role. Now it's more so Walmart saying, hey, our fees are lower. We're a little easier to deal with. We're going to be a little friendlier to sellers. We're attracting a lot of customers over here. Walmart is slowly gaining. They're growing quicker than Amazon is. Walmart is still way smaller than Amazon is online, but they're growing faster than Amazon is, and that's catching Amazon's attention. It's also catching our attention as a huge opportunity. If you want to see the course and content that we have and the great community we've carved out around Walmart, you can go to provenamazoncourse.com/Walmart and see what we got going on there. Incredible community, lots of very excited Amazon sellers who are also selling on Walmart. We've actually seen a few people transition fully to Walmart, and they're doing well. That's exciting. There's no reason to move away from Amazon, though, when that's where half of all shopping every day is happening. Unless you have a good reason to move away from Amazon, you want to keep Amazon in your portfolio. Okay, so I mentioned Amazon, obviously. We love it. We're excited about the next year, 2025, 5 years into the future, even 10 years into the future. I feel like it is a massive business opportunity. They've created more millionaires than any company in world history. They're going to continue to do so. I'm not just talking about investors. I'm talking about small businesses launching online. It is the place to be. So much opportunity there, especially if you follow the low risk path that we love to teach here. So you wade in nice and slow, take tiny risks, earn while you learn, just-in-time education versus just-in-case education, where you're learning the next step you need as you grow, again, without taking big risks. That's what we do here. So we talked about Amazon, Walmart. What else is going on? What else are we seeing out there? Well, let me just get philosophical for just a moment, because the doors will start to open up to you very quickly to the degree that you understand what I'm about to say next. You see, the reason we start people out with Amazon is because the risks are so low. The learning curve is so low. The investment required is so incredibly low. And the odds of success in building a profitable business is very, very high. That's why we love it as the initial business model around here. And you'll see some people stay right there, helping fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses, selling boring everyday items, nothing exciting, no multi-packs or bundles, not launching their own brand, just boring everyday stuff, finding good ASINs and selling a few products at a time. You'll see people stay right there and build multiple seven-figure businesses. Get over to silentjim.com/thesystem to see an example of that and software that actually empowers you to be able to do that. That's great. And if that's all you ever want to do, that's cool. Stay right there. But again, for the past 20 years, we've been a multiple income stream community, primarily because we don't like to put all of our eggs into one basket. When you're using tools online to build a business, one thing you'll become painfully aware of at some point is you're kind of playing on other people's playgrounds. all of the big boys have terms of service that are stacked in their favor. I'm talking about PayPal, eBay, any Shopify site you ever have, Amazon, of course, Walmart, all of them, they have terms of service that basically at some point on page 57 of their terms of service, it says, if one day we decide we don't like you, we can delete your account and you can't sue us. Is it fair? I don't know. Is it legal? I have no idea. That's not my area of specialty. But when you've got millions of users on a website, it can kind of start to be impersonal. And at no point can you sit back and go, oh, yeah, Amazon loves me. Oh, Facebook would never suspend me. Oh, yeah, Instagram, there's no way they'd ever pull the plug. TikTok, yeah, I'm in it long term. Those guys are awesome. No, all of these companies have the ability to make your life miserable with the push of a button if they choose to do so, if you're relying on that platform. So for over 20 years, what we've been saying around here is once you've got an established income stream that's going really well, the smartest thing you can do is take that momentum onto another platform and start offsetting some of your risk. Now, you don't let the first system die when you do that. You bolt it down, you put good people in place, you put good systems in place, and then you diversify your risk. What you end up with over time is multiple streams of income. And that's what I've enjoyed as the only income for my family and I. We raised 5 kids, we homeschooled them, very flexible schedule. That was our reality for over 20 years. But we had multiple income streams. Things would slow down on eBay a little bit. They'd pick up on Amazon. Things would slow down there. My consulting clients would start to do some work with me. I would spend more attention maybe helping a brand get onto Amazon, and they'd pay me for their time. So I'm not reliant on any one platform. See, the thing that breaks my heart around here is I'll hear, and I've got an email in my inbox today from someone that said, okay, Jim, I bought almost 70,000 units of a product. And that brand, I'm now gated on. Do you think they're going to ungate me again? Because I was ungated, and now I'm gated. And I don't know if Amazon's going to let me sell these products again or not. Can you start to understand why we talk about inch deep, mile wide, diversifying your risk? I would much rather see that student. Obviously, he didn't go through our training programs. We would never encourage, especially a new seller, to go buy even 500 units of anything that could possibly get gated on them, or that they could have the rug pulled out from underneath them. That's a risk that's just not necessary. Inch deep, mile wide is a theme around here. It has to do with diversifying your risk. It has to do with creating multiple streams of income. As a new seller on Amazon, for example, we're going to teach you to sell 1, 2, 3, maybe 5 units at a time of multiple different products, never going more than 5 or 10 deep in your inventory on anything, ever, no matter how exciting it is. As a new seller, you just don't go deep on any one product or any one brand. You have to diversify your risk. That's how you protect your capital. That's how you protect your sanity. And over time, you're going to notice opportunities start coming your way if you do a few key things. One of them is you have to constantly be thinking, how can I get this system off my desk? Is there a virtual assistant? Is there a prep center? Is there a process that I could be bringing into my business that would free up my time so I can have, and here's the key, this is a very important part of what I have to share with you today, so I can have the time to develop relationships, have conversations, bring new people. Maybe it's peers, maybe it's people from masterminds around you, or masterminds that form, and you know people that live near you. But you need to be having conversations, opening up new doors of opportunity constantly. It's kind of like the old saying that says, hey, if you have a good job, that's the best time to be looking for a better job. Because when you're losing your job and you're desperate, that's a rough time to look. So when you have a good job, that's the time to be looking. Same thing with an online business. When you have a nice income stream and you have a good system, that's time to be thinking diversity. And we've got about 60 coaches on our team around here that are active, and all of them have more than one income stream. All of them, by the very nature of what I just said. They've built a beautiful business on Amazon, and they're selling on Amazon actively. And that's a great income stream for them, but they're also coaching for us. They're also consulting others. They're also helping other people get online. They're helping other people grow their businesses, and they're paid to do it. They're creating content for our community, and that content sells at a very low price to our community. but we share that revenue with them. So they're teaching what they know, they're sharing what they know, they're getting into other arenas as well. We've got so many great examples of people in our community that started off with simple eBay or Amazon businesses and then that leveraged into other incredible opportunities. Some of the big examples are guys like Mike, a student in our community who had a small coffee brand, a clueless newbie in our community, and never really sold much online, owned a small coffee shop. And now he's in 35,000 retailers around the United States. And he's one of the top food items on Amazon in any given quarter as well, doing extremely well. Built a company that's worth tens or hundreds of millions of dollars. Had a great partial exit even, doing really, really well. You may have heard of Death Wish Coffee. That's his story. Then we've got other stories, people who have gotten into passion products that they're passionate about. One guy, Chris, I'll have him on the podcast soon. It's been a while since he's been on the show. He got into selling VW bugs, customized VW bugs, meaning he buys old, beat up, nasty cars and he films the process of cleaning them up and making them look great, and then he sells them for great money. Records the process, and he's built an incredible business out of it. Can't wait to have him back on the show. And just as an example of what else is out there. But every single story you'll hear, they started off as a clueless newbie, and they started off looking for something that was low risk, low investment required, low learning curve, ideally, that they could learn the process. That's why we start people on Amazon. Don't ever make the mistake, however, of thinking that this community is all about keeping you tied to Amazon. We want you liberated from any one single platform. At some point, we want you to have multiple income streams, to have that passion project you've always had in mind, to be funded by this system that you built, this beautiful business that you built on Amazon, most likely, because that's where the opportunity is. If that changes, we'll start teaching something else. But we are as bullish about 2025 and Amazon as we've ever been. But make that a jumping point, make that a leverage point where you can begin to pursue other things and diversify how you earn. The beautiful thing about multiple streams of income for me, when it's done correctly, is they all kind of compound on each other and they complement each other. They build on each other. For example, all the streams of income that I have, with only a couple of exceptions, they all center around, I'm the guy who understands how to use the internet to build businesses. They all kind of center around that. I'm selling stuff online. I'm helping others learn to sell stuff online. I love talking about business and e-commerce. It's a wide net that I've cast out there, but all my income streams filter in and fuel each other in that arena. People see that we have a warehouse and we're selling product, and they stop by and say, hey, that's cool. I've had some products I'm wanting to sell. Could you teach us? Yeah, well, we can teach you. We do have the ability to teach you. We have the ability to sell your products through our accounts, maybe on consignment. Maybe we just buy your product from you and we sell it ourselves at a profitable markup. We've got multiple options there. I didn't start there. It took me time to get there. But the path between where you are now and having multiple income streams involves meeting more people, having more conversations, hanging out with other people who are in the similar arena of business owners or e-commerce, and just seeing where it goes. We've seen multi-million-dollar companies launch in this community from simple conversations. People just striking up a conversation and saying, hey, I've got this opportunity. I know this individual. I would love to work with you on this project. I've got this inventory. What do you think we could do with it? Do you want to go in with me on this deal? We see that happening constantly in this community. Those conversations are how you begin to diversify. So specifically, what else are we excited about around here? What else are we looking forward to around here that really gets us excited about the future of not just Amazon, but e-commerce in general? And I'll tell you this, one of the greatest opportunities that's out there for all of us, if you've got any Amazon experience whatsoever, and you've sold, say, even $10,000 worth of inventory or even $5,000 on Amazon, even over this course of, say, 3 or 5 months, it took you that long to sell a few $1,000s. The skill set you have now makes you almost invaluable to many, many brands out there that are struggling with Amazon. Because you may think that just because we live, eat, breathe, and sleep Amazon and e-commerce in this Facebook group as a listener to this podcast and this community, that everyone else understands it too. No, the vast majority of brands out there, I would estimate over 90% of them, are struggling, confused, frustrated, disappointed with Amazon. And if someone would offer them a viable solution, especially if it was a low-cost solution, they would jump on it right now in a heartbeat. We call this the proven product partnering strategy in our community. It's actually a module in the Proven Amazon Course Library. If you go to provenamazoncourse.com, you'll see it's a whole library. And then we start everybody at the same point in that library. We teach you the basics, the foundation. We want you helping fill the underserved shelf space at Amazon's hundreds of warehouses, selling boring items, taking very small risks. Once you understand that model, there's a whole library of other options that open up to you on Amazon, related to Amazon. And you don't need an Amazon account to even do this one. All you do is you talk to other brands. Maybe they're on Amazon already, maybe they aren't, and you help them navigate the Amazon landscape effectively. You don't have to make any promises, but you will see brands that are doing well in stores. Maybe it's retail, maybe they already have some momentum, maybe they have their own website. They're just not doing well on Amazon yet. You help them tweak their listing, you add some magic sauce. We teach this in the Proven Product Partnering module inside the Proven Amazon course, which, by the way, we're adding some new content to that in 2025. Some good stuff happening there because this business is so explosive. There are tens of thousands of brands right now that if someone would just make the right pitch to them, could be an email or a phone call or a Zoom session, and say, hey, here's the deal. I want to do a few things with your Amazon account. I'd love to take a shot at it. Pay me very, very little up front, and then I want a percent of all sales. I think I can do something special with your brand. That's a business model. Huge opportunity. It's called an agency model, some people refer to it as, and it's about to get a whole lot bigger than it's ever been. Not only because Amazon is growing, but because a lot of brands on Amazon are being asked to go find their own help, basically. Amazon used to be very helpful and buy directly from a lot of brands. So you know what, just send us a few pallets of your product, we'll pay you for it, and we'll sell it on our platform. Amazon's doing that with fewer and fewer brands right now. That's right, they're kicking brands out of Vendor Central, which is where they deal directly with the vendor, and they're kicking them back over to the Seller Central side, which is where you and I as small sellers hang out. We're familiar with the Seller Central. Brands aren't. Thousands of them are being booted out of Amazon's system back onto the streets where they have to figure out Seller Central for themselves. They either got to go hire somebody for $150,000 a year to sit at a desk and manage their Amazon account, which represents 5 or 10% maybe of their total retail sales, or they've got to find someone like you that can manage it. One of the great podcast guests that we had not too long ago was someone who was doing this model for a brand that he had been selling on Amazon, but he approached them and said, hey, I've been selling your stuff. How about you let me manage your account on Amazon? They liked him so much, they hired him, gave him an incredible job, lets him work from home. He's still doing pretty much the same thing he was doing before. He's getting paid really well. They even bought his Amazon business, so he didn't have to worry about that anymore. Great story. Those kinds of opportunities are just a few conversations and connections away. So as you're adding to your skill set of understanding whatever platform you're on, Amazon, eBay, Walmart, you need to be having conversations. You'll know you're heading in the right direction if you're adding, say, 1, 2, 3, maybe even 5 or 10 new people to your network every week, every month, new connections, new people you can follow up with, new people you can text and say, hey, how's it going? Hey, let's touch base on that project again. A lot of your time should be spent not watching videos about how to improve your skills, although that's necessary. The initial foundation cannot be skipped. That period of intense focused effort where you learn the Amazon landscape, you learn how to recognize opportunity and learn how to read a Keepa chart, for example. These are vital skills. This is 101 level skills. You must have those. Once you have those and you're starting to build a system and you got some momentum, it doesn't have to be a $50,000 a month business. When you start thinking, it's time to start adding relationships and connections. That's where the multiple income streams will come from. And at no point is it going to feel like you're running around like crazy trying to juggle a whole bunch of different projects. It shouldn't feel like that at all. It should feel like you have systems, you have routines, and you're constantly adding new friends into your network, and then you're very intentionally pursuing the opportunities that those friends and those relationships bring into your life. Always be listening to new content. This podcast is a great example. It's going to spark ideas. You're going to be encouraged. You're going to be warned about some of the pitfalls that are out there. Always be reading good books. Turn off Netflix. Turn off the entertainment. Put some good stuff in your head. You've heard us say around here, the difference between where you are now and where you'll be 5 years from now. It's the content you're consuming and the people you're hanging out with. So if I wanted to predict where you're going to be, that's the question I would ask. What content's filling your mind? Who are you listening to? I hope it's not people who are full of drama or complaining. I hope it's not Netflix and whatever movies you can find the time to watch. I hope it's not just drifting around on the internet, goofing off. I hope it's not just daydreaming or looking at your vision board of what you hope you have someday. I hope what you are filling your head with instead is conversations with real people, great content, people who are a little further down the road than you are, so you can be encouraged and inspired and challenged by them. I think one of the greatest gifts that we've given e-commerce through this podcast is a whole bunch of people who you'll find yourself listening to, and you'll find yourself saying, you know what, that person has more disadvantages than I do, and they've built something beautiful. That's a gift. I hope you see that as a gift, to be surrounded by and consuming the content of people who have less than you do, who have more disadvantages, fewer advantages. They came from a worse background. They're in a tougher part of the world. They've got some physical disabilities. They've got some relationship strain. They're just coming out of maybe a substance abuse scenario, but they're building something incredible. I hope when you hear that, you're able to absorb the lesson, which is, wow, okay, I should be grateful for where I am. I'm blessed. There's people so much worse off than me. I'm very blessed. And then use that momentum to say, okay, they could do it. I know I can too. I'm going to pursue this and make it happen. If they could do it, I am too. No excuses. Your past, how you were parented, whatever failures you've had. To see someone who's had it worse off than you succeed, you should use that as motivation. And I think that's one of the biggest gifts that this podcast has given e-commerce, is just that, because we've got, again, at this point, hundreds of stories of people who came, we have formerly homeless people on our show talking about buying houses. We've got incredible story after story after story. So don't buy into the doom and gloom. If you go looking for it, it's always been there. I love sharing this fact recently, especially around this time of the year, Q4, the fourth quarter. Amazon always tightens the screws on all their policy and enforcement, and people always start complaining. One year they said no new sellers, and they didn't tell us if that was a permanent change or temporary. No new sellers. Everyone freaked out. We've seen at least 100 sky is falling moments over the past 20 years, and they all have a few things in common. What's a sky is falling moment? Well, it's Amazon raised the fees, or they're not going to accept more than X number of units in this warehouse, or this category just got gated, or this brand just got gated, or whatever it is, right? We've seen well over 100 at this point. People freak out, lose their minds. But here's what they all have in common. You give it a week or two, and everyone's breathed a sigh of relief and said, oh, well, that wasn't that big of a deal. Every single time. And the cool thing is, it presents multiple new opportunities as well. Let me give you another specific example. Amazon has cranked down a little bit on bundling. Can you do a bundle on Amazon anymore? Everyone's losing their minds. You've probably seen some of these listings on Amazon, 6 kinds of different potato chips from different potato chip manufacturers and a little refrigerator magnet. Now, why would someone do that? Well, they've made a unique listing on Amazon, and now no one else can sell against that listing. And maybe they sold a ton of it, and they did so good mixing the Fritos with the Cheetos with the whatever brands, and this little silly magnet, hey, hang on, it's almost Friday or whatever, right? This silly magnet that they had made or that they bought in bulk, and they've got their own bundle, and they were all excited about it. Well, Amazon has said, we don't want those junk bundles on our platform anymore. Matter of fact, here's some clarification on bundles, and they've cleaned house, shut down a whole bunch of ASINs. They suspended some people. Now they're letting them all back in again. So here we are a couple months on the other side of this new ripple, and everyone's kind of breathing a sigh of relief, looking around like, okay, everybody's still standing. Everyone's still here. The opportunities have shifted. Amazon has clarified. And what new opportunities are now available? Well, if you want to do bundles the right way, guess what? The shoppers are still shopping. The people who jumped on Amazon shopping yesterday looking for those potato chip bundles, they could care less about the magnet, obviously. Well, that bundle doesn't exist anymore. Shoppers are still shopping, though. What are you going to do about it? If you learn the right way to do these things, there's new opportunity here, and there always will be. Every time there's opposition, there's opportunity. That's not just a cute saying that I came up with to sound like, poetic. That is a thousands and thousands of year old business principle from the Bible. It's a Hebrew business principle. Anytime you face opposition, you have to get over your fear, get over the intimidation as fast as possible, because the first person to do so is opening up a whole new world of tremendous opportunities. So when Amazon changes something, when you see people freaking out, what you need to do is respond by saying, okay, what's the new opportunity? What does this make possible? Because every time it does. The hundreds of times that we've seen the sky is falling moments in e-commerce, every single time, without exception, I would challenge you, push back, let me know if you've seen an exception to this. Every single time, within a week or two, typically, multiple new opportunities have been made available as a result of that change. And you see it everywhere once you learn to see the world through that lens. And that's why it matters who you're hanging out with. You want to be hanging out with other people who see the world that way. Between Nate and I, he's my coaching director who's been with me 20 years. We've coached nearly 10,000 people in our e-commerce programs at this point. We're the longest running e-commerce coaching program in the world at this point. Believe it or not, pretty incredible. Go to silentjimdotcom. Let's have a conversation, see if it's a good fit for you. That's not why I bring this up. Nate and I talk frequently about these challenges for our business or for the industry in general. And we always challenge each other when we're discussing these oncoming challenges to come up with not just one possible solution, but 5 to 10 possible solutions for a path forward out of whatever brick wall or difficult scenario we've established. Because until you've listed 5 or 10 forward-moving, forward-facing, positive momentum solutions, you haven't spent enough time thinking about the problem. If you're just thinking, oh, I wish this would go away, that's not addressing the opportunities that are present. You start off by saying, what does this make possible? What new opportunities are going to present themselves as a result of this change? How can we be helpful to the community? What number of creative solutions might we consider? Who else can we bring into this conversation? That's a big one. There's a book called Who, Not How. So instead of saying, how are we going to get through this? You say, who can we bring into this conversation that would be helpful as we navigate this new opportunity that's been presented to us? So you see it every time as an opportunity. And that's not just a platitude. It's the reality. I know it doesn't feel like an opportunity if you get your legs chopped out from underneath you and you're laying on your face. It doesn't feel like an opportunity at all, but it is. I mean, just think about the number of people who express the gratitude they now have that they were fired from their last job, or that that person they were dating revealed who they really were and disappointed them, broke off that marriage. The gratitude you have 2 years, 5 years out, that person that stole from you. I have gratitude for the people that have stolen from me. Why? Well, they revealed who they were early enough that I didn't have to lose a whole bunch more from them on an even bigger incident in the future. They revealed their character. I let them go. It reminds me of the guy that said, always keep a $20 bill on the table near your front door. If someone ever breaks into your house, they're going to stuff it in their pocket. That way, when you're coming in the house, you look, see the $20 bill's missing, you know to get out of there because there's someone else in your house, right? I thought that was pretty interesting. One of the biggest favors they can do is steal from you. That's a red flag right out of the gate. So these painful moments, you don't focus on the loss, you focus on the lesson and you find the opportunity. What does this make possible? If you do that in e-commerce, man, you're going to do so great. People are going to want to be around you. They're going to want to be in your network. They're going to want to spend time with you. And that if I have a magic formula for why we've survived as a podcast, as a community, I've seen so many people kind of come and go. I think one of them is at every turn, we don't just pretend to see the positives like, oh, well, there's a silver lining behind every cloud. It's not just something we say to keep ourselves cheered up. We aggressively and actively go pursue and find that opportunity because it is really there. Every single time it's there. Pivot is the path forward. It's not a straight line. It's a pivot. There's lots of pivots. There's multiple income streams, multiple opportunities, many new relationships. And it is a very exciting journey. And I'm very proud of the fact, again, over 2 decades, this is what we've been doing. Multiple streams of income opportunity are out there. And I've dropped several interesting ideas on you today. I have spent a lot of time in several other arenas that we can spend more time on. What I would like to hear is your feedback. If you want me to go deeper on any of these, I can go super deep. I can create content. I have created content on things like email marketing, social media marketing, growing a virtual team, global team around the world, having people working, contributing to your business. We call it the eat what you kill business model around here. I mean, you've got people who are truly lifting. They get paid when they get results. And when there's no results, they're not getting paid. It's a beautiful way to build a business. It really is. And that's the way we've done things around here. So any of those things you want to talk about, I'm not real big on turning your passion into your hobby into a business. And I spend a lot of time discussing why I'm not too excited about that, especially for new entrepreneurs. In my free book, it's called Silent Sales Machine. It's sold over 1 million copies, but I want to give it to you completely free. It's in version 11 right now. You can go to silentjim.com/free11, that number 11, free 11, 2 digits, and get a copy of that book. I strongly encourage it. If you enjoyed this conversation today and you found any of this challenging, you want to go deeper on some of the things I introduced you to, you're going to love that experience of going through that training, that book. Because I do spend time on what doesn't work, why you shouldn't focus on your passion and hobbies as your starting point, where some of the pitfalls are in the industry, where the big trends are taking us, where the big opportunities are, and how to begin building multiple income streams so you can free up your time to have the time and the money, the energy to pursue some of your passion projects. I'm not saying don't pursue your passions. I'm saying don't try to turn them into money. Serve others. Build a beautiful business serving others, and then you'll have time to do those things that you're passionate about, and you'll have the mental space, you'll have the margin in your life to do those things, and they may monetize. That's great. Hopefully they do. But if they don't, it's not going to be a disappointment because you didn't start the journey by talking about what you want to do. You started the journey saying, where's the need in the marketplace? I'm going to serve that need, become passionate about it, build a beautiful business, build multiple income streams, serving others and meeting market needs. And there's nothing better out there than starting on Amazon right now. From our vantage point, still absolutely number one best business opportunity for people who are willing to put in the work, put in the time that it takes to learn, and learn as you earn. So you're going to be taking small steps in the right direction, not taking any big risks. That's what we do in the Proven Amazon course. And then it will open up all these other doors to you. If you're ready to start that journey, I encourage you, get over to provenamazoncourse.com. $39 a month gets you all the Amazon seller training you'll ever need. It's all in there. We're going to step you through it. $20 a month for the Keepa software. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on that right now, but that's the only software tool you need as a newbie. We have people with multiple 7-figure businesses. That's all they use is Keepa. Once they've learned how to use it through the lens that we teach. It's actually designed to be a tool for people who are looking for discounts and bargains as shoppers. But if you learn to use it as a selling tool to make good inventory decisions, it is a power tool. And there's so many ways that it can be used. So you got $39 a month for Proven Amazon course, $20 a month for Keepa, and then about $39 a month for your Pro Amazon seller account. About $100 a month. That's it. You're off to the races. A few $100 for inventory. You're wading into this adventure that's going to open up a bunch of great doors for you in the future. That's the path that we suggest for all new e-commerce warriors. But if you're looking for what else is out there, you're in the right community. Build relationships, have conversations, come to our events. Plan on coming to our May event, May 2025, the last 3 days of May. We're going to be in Orlando. We'd love to have you there with us. Plan to be there. We had about 800 plus people there last year. It's going to be a great gathering again this year. And everyone there is a business building warrior, open to conversations, open to people coming up and saying, hey, how's business? How could we work together? What are you working on? What's going well? What challenges are you facing right now that maybe I could help you tackle? Great place to build those relationships and carve a path forward in the arena of e-commerce, which is exploding with opportunity. And we prove it here every single day. Thanks for hanging out with me for this episode today. Hopefully I got the wheel spinning, got your creative juices going. There's so much more I could say on so many of these subjects. So please do jump into our Facebook group. Ask me questions on any of this. Maybe I'll do a whole episode dedicated just to your question if you'd like me to dive deeper. Or you can join us on Mondays as well. We announce our Monday Zoom meetings in our free Facebook group almost every Monday at about 5 o'clock Eastern. We go live in front of whoever wants to come, and we interact, and you can turn on your camera and ask questions live, hang out with us, or you can sit quietly, anonymously in the back and just listen. But it's a great time every week. Come hang out with us. Ask your questions there. I'd love to go deeper on any of the topics that I introduced today with you, maybe live. If you can join us on Mondays, there's a link in our free Facebook group. Again, there's a link to that group at silentjimdotcom. Get in there. There's 78,000 plus of us, but you'll see the announcements for our Monday Zooms right up at the top of the page. Pretty much every Monday we do this. All right. We'd love to have you there. God bless you, business building warrior. Thanks for hanging out with us today. We hope to hear from you real soon. If we've never met, we'll have another great episode for you very soon.